The basketball world is mourning the loss of Kobe Bryant. Hello there once again. Thanks for joining us for episode 232 of Plain English for Monday, February 10th, 2020. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and the full episode resources can be found at plainenglish.com/232. Coming up today, remembering Kobe Bryant. He was one of the world's biggest sports superstars, and he was killed alongside his teenage daughter in a helicopter crash outside of Los Angeles. In the second half of the program, we'll talk about what it means to be eligible for something. We have a quote of the week, and the video lesson is about superlatives with a twist. When something is not quite the superlative, what do you say? It is almost the most or the best or the biggest, but not quite. That's the subject of the video lesson today at plainenglish.com/232. The sports world was stunned by the news that superstar Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash near Los Angeles. The crash happened midday on the morning of Sunday, January 26th in Calabasas, a mountainous area north of LA. Bryant was taking his 13-year-old daughter Gianna to her own basketball game at the time of the crash. Gianna and all 7 others on the helicopter also died. The exact reason for the crash is still unknown, but fog and poor visibility were cited as possible factors. Bryant is one of the biggest stars in the history of the game, alongside Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and was widely recognized as among the very biggest sports stars on the planet. Most current NBA stars grew up watching him and revered him for his talent and his dedication to the game. He was an 18-time All-Star, 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, and the league MVP, Most Valuable Player, in 2008. He won gold medals with the American Olympic team in the 2008 and 2012 Olympic Games. He scored the second most points ever in an NBA game with 81 against the Toronto Raptors in 2006 and scored 60 points in his final NBA game, one of the most memorable superstar farewells in American sports history. He will become eligible for the Basketball Hall of Fame later this year. At the time he retired in 2016, he was third on the all-time list of points scored. On the day before he died, LeBron James passed him on the all-time points list. Kobe's last message on Twitter was congratulating LeBron on the accomplishment. Kobe was famous for his work ethic and competitive spirit, sometimes clashing with other players. He wasn't shy about his ambition to be among the best basketball players in history. Despite playing his entire career with the Los Angeles Lakers, he was never one for the nightclub or celebrity scene. Kobe's legacy was tainted in 2003 when a 19-year-old hotel receptionist accused him of sexual assault. The case never went to trial because the young woman was unwilling to testify in public, and the two parties settled a lawsuit over the incident. Unusually for many superstar athletes, Kobe had a vibrant and commercially successful career after basketball. Together with a business partner, he formed a venture capital firm that eventually grew to manage over $2 billion in assets. His firm invested in the creator of the video game Fortnite, the hot sauce Cholula, Dell, Alibaba, and others. That's not all. He founded a sports training academy and was active coaching his daughter Gianna's basketball team. She had dreams of being a WNBA player. He wrote an animated short film that won an Academy Award, wrote books, and was collaborating with the Brazilian author Paulo Coelho on a children's book. Hours after the crash, Coelho announced he would delete the draft rather than finish without his co-author. In the days following the crash, the sports world publicly grieved the loss of one of its biggest stars. All players at the NBA All-Star Game will wear either number 24, Kobe's number with the Lakers, or 2, his daughter's number. The Lakers placed his initials on the court and will wear KB armbands for the rest of the season. Shaquille O'Neal, the massive center who played with Bryant for a tumultuous few years in Los Angeles, gave a moving tribute on television. Alicia Keys sang "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday" at the Grammy Awards. In Italy, where Kobe grew up watching his father play professional basketball, the town of Reggio Emilia named a public plaza after him. The helicopter was en route from the Bryant home in the Orange County suburbs to the youth sports facility where Gianna was scheduled to play a game. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. Kobe Bryant was 41. I mentioned the video lesson earlier today. We started doing the video lessons with episode 179, and we are now on episode 232. That means we have 53 video lessons online, each one about 8 to 15 minutes. If you're not a member of Plain English Plus, then you're not getting these videos. I just took a survey of Plain English Plus members, and the video lessons were the number one favorite feature among members. And they now all have subtitles. So if you join today, you'll get immediate access to all 53 videos plus 2 more each week. So come see what it's all about at plainenglish.com/plus, plainenglish.com/plus. The word I'd like to talk to you about today is eligible. When you're eligible for something, you're allowed to do it or allowed to receive it. In American sports, we have what's called a Hall of Fame, and it's usually a museum, but more generally, an institution that recognizes the very best players in the history of a sport. In basketball, we have the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, named after the father of the sport, Joseph Naismith. And each year, several committees look at players around the world and decide who to admit into the Hall of Fame. Only the very best players get in. The committees get to decide subjectively who is admitted to the Hall of Fame. But there is one rule. A player must be retired for several full seasons before being admitted. A player cannot be admitted unless he or she has been retired for the required amount of time. Kobe Bryant has not yet been eligible for the Basketball Hall of Fame. That means he had not yet waited the required amount of time, so by rule, he was not allowed to be voted in, no matter how badly the committee wanted him. He was not eligible. He was not even allowed to be considered. He will be eligible for inclusion in the Hall of Fame this year, and the ceremony will be over the summer. Several other players are eligible for the Hall of Fame beginning this year, including Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Chris Bosh. I think it's a good bet that Tim Duncan will be selected to the Hall of Fame. Chris Bosh is eligible, but he may not be chosen. That means the rules allow Chris Bosh to be selected, but we don't know if he will be selected. That's the key with eligible for. It doesn't necessarily mean you are or you will be something. It just means you're allowed to try or to be included. For example, I know a lot of people who are eligible to vote, but do not vote. They are permitted to. They are citizens. They are old enough, but they don't do it. In New York, a lot of people don't drive. They don't even have driver's licenses. They are eligible to apply for driver's licenses. They could get one if they wanted to, but they don't by choice. In the United States, our Constitution places two conditions on a person's eligibility for president. A person must be a natural-born citizen, and the person must be at least 35 years old. Hey, that means I'm eligible to be president. I won't be, but I am eligible. I meet the minimum requirements by rule. Now, actually achieving it is another story. One of the big questions that governments face is, when should citizens be eligible for a public pension? Many public pension systems were created 50, 75, 100 years ago, when people didn't live as long as they do today. Today, people live longer than ever, and yet, in many places, people are eligible to collect public pensions at age 62. sometimes even younger. They could live 30 more years. But it's so hard for politicians to raise the age at which a person becomes eligible for a public pension. Who is going to take home the Oscar for Best Picture this year? I don't know, but I do know that it will be one of 344 films. That's because only 344 films are eligible this year. If you're not on that list, you are not going to be considered for an award. By rule, you're not allowed to win one. To be eligible for the Academy Awards, a film must be shown in a movie theater in Los Angeles before December 31st of any given year. It must run for at least 7 consecutive days, and it must be 40 minutes or longer. A film that comes out in January is not eligible for the Academy Awards that same April, but it would be eligible for the Academy Awards the following year. Here's your quote of the week. The American author Mark Twain once said, "Eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day." Now, I don't think that was advice to be taken literally, but he does have a point. If you've got something you have to do and it's unpleasant, get it over with first. Just take care of it. Do the hardest thing early in the day, and then you won't have to do anything harder than that the whole rest of the day. I kind of like that. Eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. American author and a font of quotable snippets, Mark Twain. That's all for today. Coming up on Thursday, was it the big news in American politics or the big snooze? The impeachment of Donald Trump didn't captivate American voters like many thought it would. That's on Thursday. And remember, if you're not yet a member of Plain English Plus, then this is a great time to join. You'll get access to all 53 of the videos in our archive, plus 2 new videos with our episodes each week. The videos show you how to express complicated ideas in English. It's not just about vocabulary, it's about connecting your thoughts and making yourself understood. So come check us out at plainenglish.com/plus, plainenglish.com/plus.